It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, answer, yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Full Court Press. I'm Eric Frandsen. He's Jason Walker. And we're here on 106.9 FM, also 1390 AM, also streaming on 1069thefan.com and the 1069 The Fan mobile app, and also on our podcast feed on our website and on our mobile app and wherever you subscribe to podcasts. Podcast has been published, should be posting soon. From last hour, where we recapped Utah State's dominant win on the court and in the stands at Boise State on Saturday. Aggies ranked in the top 25 for the first time this season. Can they maintain that? It's a much tougher week ahead for Utah State. They benefited from the bottom end of the conference. Now that's going to flip for Utah State. We'll see how well they can continue. But if you want to go back and listen to any of that, go find it on our podcast feed. But Jason, there's also news with Utah State football as portal season is upon us. It's underway. It opened last week. Well, actually, a little bit more than that. It's been open for almost a week and a half, and it will continue to be open until Friday. And for players to declare their intentions, whether they want to stay or go. But we're also hearing players announce, those who were in the portal, where they want to end up. And some of those are announcing that they want to come to Utah State, and Aggies appear to have added a few more over the weekend.
I believe it was 4 that I was able to confirm have committed. And so that brings the total up to, I think, 11 commits. And the Aggies will keep adding some commits. Just with they graduated a lot of players. They've added about half as many players as they've lost to the portal. And I think they need to get a little bit closer as far as to fill out their full roster, especially where they got to get their full roster, by summer and fall. So they got to add these players. Obviously, they don't have to add all of these players by the end of the portal period. That's just when players will commit. I think we're probably going to see the last couple of players enter the portal for the Aggies, if there are any more, over the next 1 or 2 days. I don't know if we're going to see that many last-second additions to the portal. There's going to be somebody, probably, but I don't know if there's going to be that many more. We're, I think, 21 departures in the portal, and I think somewhere in the mid-20s is about what it's going to look like will be the max for the Aggies, which is pretty solid, I think.
Yeah.
It is probably a little lower because of a lot of graduations, but I think we've had years where there were a lot of graduations and a lot of entries to the portal. Last year was kind of an example of that as well. Then they had to bring in like 80-plus new players. So the players that they've added as of this weekend, Caden Lynch, an offensive lineman with William & Mary out of the FCS. This is a player who was a full-time left guard, I believe. Played almost 800 snaps at left guard from PFF. He was a decently graded offensive lineman. I don't have much reference other than that. I don't always trust PFF gradings blindly, but this is a guy who played a lot of snaps, played well for William & Mary by all accounts, and is going to be coming to the Aggies. He's got good size, 6'4", 300 pounds, so good size for an interior lineman and some solid experience, even coming at the FCS level. Then you have John Randall Jr. He's an offensive lineman, comes from Purdue. I mean, the Aggies added Jimmy Liston from Purdue, so they're adding another interior offensive lineman from Purdue. This is a guard. He just finished his redshirt freshman season, so he's not played a whole lot. He's played 23 snaps last year, so not someone who's playing a whole lot, but getting someone from a Power 5 program. And so just, again, continuing to add offensive linemen. They've added 3 offensive linemen from the portal. They added Chewy Wade the other day from Oklahoma State. So they've added 3 offensive linemen in total. Then they
two of them from P4 programs.
Yeah, 2 of them from P4 programs. Another, the other being someone who played a lot at the FCS level. So you're adding in experience and size. Different areas. You can get guys who are coming from the power conferences. Maybe they can make something for themselves here, or players who've kind of earned their way up. So kind of getting players from both directions. They added a wide receiver, Rex Haynes. He's a guy kind of in the similar realm of Brady Boyd and Braden Pagan, guys who basically didn't play at all at the Power 5 level. Haynes comes from Arizona. He spent 3 years there. Barely played at all. He played 13 snaps on offense for Arizona last season. Didn't catch a single pass. I don't even know if he had a target. So he's coming to Utah State. Brings size. He's 6'4", 204 pounds. This is a big guy. I don't know. I didn't look up to see if he has much speed, but at the very least, that size projects as I'm going to catch everything that's thrown at me type.
Yeah, possession receiver.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you want to be able to get from a player of that size. If he has speed, then you'd wonder why he didn't play at Arizona.
Yeah.
Players of that size with speed, they tend to go to the NFL, not transfer down to Utah State after flaming out at Arizona. Then they added Adonis. I'm not sure how to pronounce his first name.
Probably Adonis.
Yeah, Adonis Jackson, 6'4", 250-pound edge. Might have to almost trim down some of that weight to play outside linebacker where he's not necessarily going to be a down lineman, or depends on how athletic he is. But he comes from Mississippi Valley State, another, I believe, FCS program. Had 37 tackles, 6.5 TFLs, and a couple of sacks. For Mississippi Valley State, played 400 snaps. So they added a couple of guys with volume snaps from the FCS level that are moving up. They seem to be leaning a little bit more on the FCS than Blake Anderson really leaned into JUCO. And a lot of those players didn't seem to work out. And Broncos seems to be leaning more in the FCS Division II. They added Dylan Tucker from Division II. I think they added Brevin Hamblin from Utah Tech. They did add JUCO players, but a lot of those JUCO players didn't play. Whereas some of the guys they added from D2 or FCS did play. I don't think Brevin Hamblin did play a lot of snaps. Dylan Tucker played some. So Broncos seems to have a bit more of an emphasis on Division II FCS players than Division II and FCS. They're not the same thing.
No,
I've specified they're 2 different things, but similar in some sense. But leaning on those 2 instead of JUCO, which seemed to have paid off last season. We'll see if it pays off this year, because they had another FCS guy, Jordan Pendleton. They've added 3 players from FCS, which I think is more than they've added in most other seasons recently. Because again, Blake Anderson really leaned into the JUCO ranks, adding his guys.
Yeah, so interesting to see some of these new additions for Utah State, clearly trying to fill some of the holes and gaps and provide more depth at offensive line, but also addressing some of the other needs that Utah State has. But still about another 4 more days where the portal is open, where players can put their names in there. They don't have to declare by the 16th where they want to go, but they do have to file by the 16th if they plan to leave. So Utah State is still trying to fill some of those holes, fill some of those gaps, and see what the Aggies do this spring with if they're able to get some of these guys on campus for this semester to participate in spring ball, or if it's just they get here in summer and start participating in strength and conditioning, and then we don't see them really until August when that fall camp begins.
Yeah, I think this latest wave might be the last players that are really going to be able to pull off playing this semester. Most of these guys they've got committed will probably be able to find their way into school. It'll be a little makeup work. Some of these guys who just committed the last couple of days, they'll have missed a full week of school and will probably miss another in the in the fact they have to move and all that kind of stuff.
Actually get here, yeah,
get here. So that's they'll probably be able to do it because it's 1-2 weeks. You can usually make up for that. There's avenues. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, but they pulled it off with some players last year. They're just going to have to pull it off for a few more. They'll have to pull some strings. Some teachers will complain because it's annoying for them too. Nobody's really going to be happy with dealing with this academics. Broncos not happy.
No.
But they'll get it done. Everyone will survive. The headaches will eventually go away and smooth themselves over. But these next couple of waves, because you've got a couple more waves coming where like there's going to be more visits this week, this upcoming weekend, athletes coming on campus, and that's going to be with the portal still open. That's going to provide a couple more waves. There are like 10,000 players in the portal apparently, which is like, I'm not sure I can believe that number. I've seen it on social media. I don't know. I didn't realize there were that many athletes in football. I don't know. I'd have to double check that number because like I said, I didn't believe it when I saw it. So I don't know if it was AI making things up. The AI,
yeah, it seems a little high.
It does.
It seems high because I seem to remember the last few years it was more like 3,000 to 4,000. Yeah. So 10,000 seems.
Yeah, it seems a little unbelievable. It is much, but it is thousands. So like, there's going to be a few more waves. It'll slow down a little bit after this week. There'll be still some trickling in as they figure things out. There are a lot of players who will enter the portal last minute that Bronco's going to go after. Like you can see Power 4 transfers that enter last minute, knowing that they'll have a landing space likely somewhere in the G5. So it's not like they're going to stop signing players after the next couple of weeks, but the majority of the rest of the transfers announcements are probably going to happen in the next week and a half before it really slows down, because by then they'll be up to like 15, 16, 17 transfer additions, and they're going to be bumping up against their roster limits. So things will slow down as they take more and more time to evaluate players and figure out just who are the final players we need to add. Because again, they're also adding a bunch of high schoolers. So it's not just matching the transfer numbers and all that and the graduations. They've got guys coming in to replace all the graduations. So as I said, there should be one more big wave that we'll probably see this weekend. And I think that's when you'll see them. You know, they've already addressed offensive line and edge rusher. So I think you might see maybe another they start to lean into wide receivers, maybe linebackers, and I would say probably definitely more defensive backs, because they've partially addressed defensive backs, but I think they need more of them.
Yeah, I think they also need a tight end.
Yeah, tight ends as well. I think that's you'll probably see them get a couple of tight ends, but they had gaping holes. Like you look at my article, I was like, these are the things the Aggies need to address. They need a quarterback. They went and got McKay Hillstead. They're probably going to look for another transfer portal quarterback at the very least, or they'll move Anthony Garcia over from wide receiver. But if they do that, then they need to go get more wide receivers.
Yeah.
They need to address the offensive line. They've added 3 of them. They needed edge rushers. They did lose Will Holmes, but they brought in 2 edge rushers with good production at the FCS level. Should be able to make the jump here. They've got good size, good athleticism, good production from where they come from. And, they needed some defensive backs. They didn't put that on there, but like with the attrition they got largely from graduation, they had like 3 or 4 guys in the defensive backfield transfer. They needed to add defensive backs. They've added 2 corners and a safety. So there's some more holes they need to fill with the transfer portal. But some of these spots are also going to get filled with redshirt freshmen or redshirt sophomores that are going to start coming into their own development and are going to start stepping into those roles.
Yeah, we didn't get to see much of them last year, but they were there. They were on campus. They were developing, and now this is their time to really move forward in their process. So, yeah, keep an eye on that, CashValleyDaily.com. Jason's got his transfer tracker, updating that regularly whenever we see a player announcing his intentions one way or the other to come to Utah State, or if he's planning on leaving, or those who have already announced that they're leaving, where they ultimately end up, because there were a few of those that announced over the weekend as well. Notably Noah Flores heading to Arkansas State to be with a position coach that he was familiar with. But shifting gears, reminder, we've got a shortened show today. We've got the NFL playoffs that we've been airing here on The Fan. They were on Saturday and Sunday, and we got one more coming up tonight. So we'll make way for that a little bit later on this hour. So shortened edition of the 5 o'clock hour of the Full Court Press. But just wanted to throw this in there. Utah Jazz played really nicely against the Dallas Mavericks. Close game, hard-fought game. The Jazz got the win. Looked nice against Cooper Flagg. Now, Anthony Davis played for much of that game before he got hurt. But then they turn around and face the Charlotte Hornets, a team that had a similar record as the Jazz, and they might have well has been playing the 96 Bulls versus this hapless Utah Jazz. Yeah. Charlotte put up 150 points on the Jazz, and Utah didn't even crack 100. 55-point loss by the Utah Jazz. And normally on a night when you're looking at plus minus and a player efficiency and how effective a player was on the court, if you're a minus 20, it's like you had a bad night. Nobody on the Jazz, nobody finished better than that. I mean, Kyle Anderson had a minus 20. He was the best for the Jazz. And then you look at across the whole roster, you find Cody Williams on there who had a minus 60 for the Jazz. I've never seen a minus 60 in the NBA.
Indeed, you never have, because it's literally never happened before. That's an NBA record.
Is incredible.
Of course, people have set the NBA record for individual plus minus in a single game like 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years. It's really weird how often I keep seeing that. Because the previous guy was like from last year, where he had like a minus 50. I forget who it was, but yeah, Cody Williams just, and a lot of that, it's not like Cody Williams was so bad that he was worth minus 60 points. It's just he happened to be on the court for, well, when things were just going terribly. It's not all his fault.
He played about as much as anybody. Only Isaiah Collier had logged more minutes in the game.
Yeah, so some of that was just him being the unfortunate soul that was in during the worst parts of that blowout. But yeah, a few notes. One, apparently Rudy Gobert got suspended for something. I forgot to actually look into what he did.
Really?
Yeah, he got suspended for a game for, I don't know, like a flagrant foul against another player.
Oh.
I don't know if it was when they played the Cavaliers the other day where he and Donovan Mitchell were chatting it up at one point during the game. Some people caught that. And then you mentioned Anthony Davis getting injured. A meme that went viral and then got copied by a bunch of people was somebody posting a picture of Anthony Davis unveiling his new signature shoe. It's a walking boot.
Walking boot. Well, in this case, it should be like a cast for his hand, but
yeah, but it was just pretty funny.
It officially cements that Luka Doncic trade now as the worst trade ever.
Now you waited until now, Eric?
Well, it was bad before.
Captain Hot Take over here.
It just got worse.
Calling it now. The Associated Press. Eric Frandsen says that the Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis trade was not very good. This is the hot takes y'all come to the Full Court Press for.
Yes, that's true.
But you know what? For all the clowning on the Jazz we were doing, they're beating the Cavs 12-2 right now.
Wow. Good for them having a little bit of pride and like, come on.
I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but Keontae Jordan's got himself 5 early points. Cody Williams is plus 10. He was minus 60 the other day. He's plus 10.
I mean, when you have a loss like that, I get it. Jazz threw a bunch of young guys in there. Some of their veterans are out. But, I mean, you have a loss like that, like heads roll in organizations that have a little bit of pride about what they want to be.
Yeah.
It's like losing is one thing, but losing like that, I can't imagine anybody who actually paid money to go watch that in person.
Yeah, I might have actually left the game. Like, I've almost never left a game early. I'm not sure. I'm like 99% sure I have done it, but I cannot actually remember leaving a game early. And if I did, it's because I had a really dang good reason for it. But 5338 actually on the text line, kind of on this point, first saying, what a great win for the Aggies over the weekend at Extra, I don't know if this is on purpose, but Extra Vile Arena.
Oh, I'm sure that was on purpose.
On the other hand, how about them Jazz? We didn't lose the game. We just ran out of time. Signed Will Hardy. Yeah, just needed about 18 more quarters. And, if you get a hitman in there, you might have been able to eke out a comeback.
So embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, if they're playing like they were against the Cavs right now, I almost kick a chair over in here. But, they're up by 10. I think they probably called timeout or something.
Sam Merrill is starting for Cleveland tonight.
Yeah, 0 for 1 so far.
Yeah.
Scrub.
Well, a lot of people are 0 for 1 right now.
Most people on the Cavaliers
for Cleveland with only 2 points.
One guy, Jared Allen, probably made a dunk. It's probably the only thing he's done.
Yeah. So we'll see how Utah responds after that really embarrassing loss over the weekend. But the last thing to segue into, just talking about the pros, professionals, we mentioned this earlier, but the NFL playoffs, they're underway. We carried those games, the wild card round on Saturday and Sunday that continues tonight. But looking at former Aggie Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers got off to a great start. And Jordan Love looked awesome. He was dealing. But then they collapsed in the second half, and Chicago gained momentum. And they came back and stole that win that one at home, and they advance. Green Bay kicker misses an extra point, later misses a field goal.
I think he missed 2 field goals and an extra point.
Yeah, rough.
That would have won them the game.
That would have been the difference. But also the Green Bay defense just got soft, and they went conservative in their offensive play calling as well, and opened the door for Chicago, and they waltzed right through it.
Yeah, I hate how many teams go with the prevent defense thinking, oh, we can give up yards. We can give up this. Like the Patriots started doing that against the Chargers, and they were like, if the Chargers hadn't have failed on 4th down, that could have gotten bad real quick. But yeah, this is the second time the Bears have won a game where when I was watching, I thought the Packers were just about a shoe-in to win, and then they blow it. And it wasn't Jordan Love's fault. He had an 80.4 QBR. This guy did what he needed to do to win that game. Was he perfect? No, but he was pretty darn solid.
323 yards and 4 touchdowns. No interceptions.
Yeah, no interceptions. The offensive line kept him clean for the most part. 1 sack. Caleb Williams, he threw 2 picks. So it was the Packers defense, they're missing their top pass rusher, which in these situations at the end, that's when, you're having a pass rusher like Micah Parsons can make a difference. Is you get these late sacks, how the Patriots were doing against the Chargers. They were getting some late sacks that really cut some of those drives short for the Chargers. But yeah, the Packers probably weren't going far anyway, but to lose when you have it in hand, you hold a team to 6 points in the first 3 quarters, and then you allow 25.
Give up 25 in the fourth
quarter. That's obviously really brutal.
But look, every game was exciting in its own way over the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, Rams, Panthers decided by 3. Packers, Bears decided by 4. Bills, Jaguars decided by 3. 49ers, Eagles decided by 4. Now, Patriots, Chargers was decided by 13, but it still felt like it was a tight game down even through the fourth quarter.
I mean, the touchdown that made it a 2-score game happened in the fourth quarter. It's that game was close. It was a kind of a defensive masterclass on both sides. There were 11 sacks in that game, 6 to the Patriots, 5 to the Chargers. They were keeping the opposing offenses in check for most of the game. The Patriots just had that 1 touchdown drive to get them ahead, and they had an extra field goal as well. I'll tell you, I was really rooting for the Panthers, though, just because they were the team everyone says, oh, they don't deserve to be in here, losing record and all that. And I really wanted them to win, just to be like,
well, there was a good stretch of the game where they looked like they were in control. But
they looked like they were going to win it in the last minute, and then they allowed the Rams to go down. Didn't use a single timeout. Right before the 2-minute warning, I think, is when they took over the ball, and then they just marched down. Ding, They went about as quick down the field as it would have taken me to run down the field. That's how quickly they went up and down the field.
Tonight, Steelers and Texans game is in Pittsburgh. Houston is the road team, and they're favored by 3 tonight. And we'll have pregame coverage starting at about 5:30 here on The Fan. But I hope tonight's game is just as exciting as all the others have. It's been an awesome first round for the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, well, the NFL playoffs have very consistently been some of the best playoffs, in my opinion, in that the games are so often close. This is my problem with college football is look how many of those games are blowouts. You get some close ones, obviously. I mean, Ole Miss, Miami, that was nice and close, but Indiana routed Oregon. There were a bunch of other routes in the playoffs. Most any game Indiana's been a part of, but several other routes as well. A lot of those games in and of themselves aren't interesting when you sit down and watch them. Then you're like, well, I don't want to watch that because it's a blowout. But you sit down and watch any one of these NFL games and you're thrilled. You're thrilled all the way through.
Yeah. You absolutely are. It's worth your time.
Yeah. And you look at the NBA playoffs, it's the series are often close, but the individual games often aren't. It's sometimes you're just better off just watching the highlights, the way Adam Silver intends for us to follow the NBA.
The NBA is intended to be consumed.
Like the discourse and the momentum for each series isn't so much within the game. It's like, this team blows out the team, then the other team comes back and blows out because they make the right adjustments. Then you watch like a crucial game 3 and then maybe a crucial game 5 and then maybe the series is over by game 6. Like it might be entertaining back and forth, but like the individual games aren't always as exciting as you want them to be. But the NFL, like so consistently, not always, but very consistently, close, exciting games, often closer than the score indicates, kind of like with the Patriots-Chargers. 2-score game, but exciting in the fourth quarter and most of the fourth quarter.
And you got a former Aggie to cheer for tonight. Jalen Warren.
I say Jalen, I was trying to remember which
running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see what happens on that one as its kickoff is 6:15, but pregame coverage starting at 5:30 here on The Fan. Have a great night, everybody. We'll be back at it again tomorrow here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM.
Old McDarrell has a farm and appliance farm.
With down-home country prices and big city selection.
E-I-E-I-O.